Okay? All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and honors to Akim that's pushing this truth out in sincerity. Okay? So could I get Ezekiel 35 and 6?
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
And that's done. We're gonna apply this to Esau, starting with with their military, the elites. All right, because they have policed the world and have basically stolen everything from the world through war. All right, genocide and basically shady business deals. All right, so the blood is gonna pursue them soon. All right, soon they're gonna be targets for the other nations, and they're gonna shoot nukes on America. Okay, and the Lord is gonna basically dethrone them when He returns on those chariots. I was checking it was let me see some. It's the editor in chief Russia Today. She's her name is Margarita Simonian, and she basically said this. Either we lose in Ukraine or the third world war starts. You know, see, the things are starting to kick off, all right? And the title was Russian TV host says nuclear strikes is most probable outcome of Ukraine war. And this was on the Telegraph. You go to YouTube and check out the Telegraph. All right, so pretty soon blood is gonna pursue the so-called white man, all right? Because he has once again, first and foremost, he enslaved the Lord's people, right? And then the other heathen nations, because his blessing, he ruled with the sword. Genesis 27 and 38 to 39.
38.
All right. Okay, yeah, kind. You could get it if you want to. Yeah, you could get that. 27 and started 37, right? 38.
27, 38. All right. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 27, and verse 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord.
Now, Esau is basically the so-called white man, all right?
And all his brethren have I given to him for servants.
Okay.
And with corn and wine.
Yeah, Genesis 27:39. Try that out.
Genesis 27:39. Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
That's right. The so-called white man is dwelling to be the fatness of the earth. That's where wherever you go out in the world, and mainly here in the U.S., he has the best of everything. Here in New York City and Manhattan, you have Billionaires Row. That's 57th Street and Park Ave. That's Billionaires Row. 59th Street, you have basically you got multi-millionaires, $39 million apartments. Okay, but on Billionaires Row, you have 130 something, 180 million a penthouse, something like that, around that range. Okay, and you could check it out, and you could see it when you're around that region of Manhattan. But they have the best, and it overlooks the hood. You can see Harlem. Though that penthouse, you have a view of the whole city. So it's like it's a cube. So either way, either area of the city in that penthouse, you could see the hood, the other rich areas or whatever. But the thing is, they have the fatness, the best of the earth. You got it.
Real quick, let me just bring out the Hebrew word for the word. Like it. Let me bring out the word, the Hebrew word for the word fatness.
Strong's H 4924. Mishman. Mishman. Second entry, Shemanim. Shemanim.
So,
Shimanim. Masha.
so
All right.
that meaning for the word fatness is it has the word. Well, I don't get why they do this. Use the definition for the meaning for the definition. It says fatness again, fat piece. Right here's a good one. Fertile place. You know, because when a place is or a land is fertile, it makes it rich. Because now if you have some fertile, you could buy a property, but if that property just may only be good for building, you know, you can't plant around in the backyard, you know. But if you have a fertile place, you can plant all around you. So, which towards Esau, Esau's have everything. You control the resources, and you know the food, everything you eat, you got to go to Esau. So it says fertile place, richly. Going to your point, richly prepared food. And it said fatness, fat pieces.
Okay. So he has the best. Got the Hamptons, Beverly Hills. They like to go to Martha's Vineyard up there on Miami. Certain areas. Yep. So he has the fatness of the earth, and so you could tell this is talking about Esau. All right, because he's winning right now. Okay. You brought this up. Uh-huh.
Thine heart have received thee, thou that dwellest in the depths of the rock. It says, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
That's right. His pride have deceived thee. The so-called white man, his pride has deceived him. All right. The Lord gave him his wisdom. Okay. So he gained through. Okay. And he's going to be brought down to the ground, and he dwells in the clefts of the rock. His habitation is high. All right. You can see his space stations, his satellites, his high habitation on these skyscrapers and things like that. Okay, his penthouses, yeah. There's more.
Oh, that was the point.
Yeah. So when you get the chance, let me get Revelation 6:4.
I got you. Revelation 6:4. Yeah. Let me get that mic real quick. This is Revelation 6, verse 4. And it says Revelation 6:4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth.
Right. That's right. Now that's the so-called white man and his military. Okay. That's that red horse, and he took peace from the earth. He came into power during Alexander the Great, the so-called Great. All right. That's when they stepped on the scene with their power, and evils multiplied on the world, man. From the Greeks to Romans to the present time. All right. And he took peace from the earth. Look at all the everything he has conquered.
Right. It says, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword.
So he has all the way from the time he had gunpowder, cannon power, gunpowder. All right, cannon power. Then all the way up to atomic, now nuclear. All right. And also, don't forget his economic weapons, his silent weapons. That's why you got people out here killing and robbing and selling drugs to maintain, to have their head above water, to have the so-called American dream, because a scarcity of goods, which is a weapon. Economics is a weapon.
It says, Proverbs 4, verse 16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence.
That's right. So the so-called white man, he has to do um, you want me to test?
Yeah, you check pictures on the stream.
Yeah, it's back on. Oh, wait, we back on thing.
57th Street and Park.
Yeah, I think we back on. It's just the camera's dark.
Okay, now I'm fix it right now. All right.
Let me see it real quick. Testing.
All right. So you can read.
Yeah, let's talk for now.
Okay.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 17. It says, For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence.
That's right. So they always scheming and plotting to overthrow first and foremost the nation of Israel, and they need chaos. All right, they need decreased population, crime. This place is shut down if the drug trade was to stop. Okay, so all of these are tools. The prison industrial industry. All right. And also these forced flag attacks, like in the subway, to bring about more police presence and security and surveillance. And could I? Let me see. All right. All right. Yeah. So, you brothers got scripture?
Yeah, I had something too. Yeah, slacking my we had a technical difficulty, but we back. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence should that great city Babylon be thrown down, and it should be found no more at all.
Yeah, so Babylon, America, Babylon the Great, which is America, all right, it's going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. And also the Lord is going to have his spirit on those missiles, all right? Who's the Lord? Yahushua, all right? He is the deliverer, all right? For the nation of Israel, starting with the elect.
And it says, the great millstone will be the missiles, because America was founded off violence, And when we talk about the Americas, America is comprised of North, Central, and South America, like beginning at Canada, North, Central, and South America, because the Most High didn't forget what Esau did to have control of the Americas. It was a lot of rape, robbery, mass slaughter. Now they said that the people in the Caribbean islands, they caught more hell than the people up north. And I forget the actual year, but by a certain year, they were saying pretty much how up in the north, in the U.S., the slaves in the South was already in the third or fourth generation of slaves, whereas in the Caribbean island, they were still going through first generation slaves. That's how much they was dying, because Esau he's putting straight hell on Jake in the Caribbean islands, and most I didn't forget about that. And what's his guy name? The guy that wrote the letter, the Willie Lynch letter. Now the guy Willie Lynch, it was a while that I looked up into this, but he was from the Caribbean islands, and he was given his format on how or the things he does to keep his slave in check. and it became popular. So Esau, he's going to play. He's going to pay. He's going to pay through blood. You know what I'm saying? And it says, verse 22, and the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters should be heard no more at all in the empty, and no craftsman or whatsoever craft he be should be found any more empty.
Yeah, so your elites, your warlocks, they gonna that's not gonna help you anymore, right? For a time, cause soon you ain't good. Your light is not gonna shine anymore. The moon is not gonna have its light. The sun is gonna be darkened. Your knowledge on the left hand side, knowledge of wisdom and understanding on the left hand side is gonna fail you. Okay, and what they're gonna sit in the dust, confusion.
But it says, and no craftsman or whatsoever craft he be should be found any more empty, and of the sound of the millstone should be heard no more at all empty. And that millstone is the job force. Because in ancient times, they didn't have a neutral bullet. You had to actually have a millstone, and you took the grain or whatever sort you had, and you grind it to powder, and that's how you got your flour, right?
Right.
You got to work, and so it's representing towards work. So it's not gonna be no more work over here. Like right now, the big thing with Joe Biden, he's sending how much money to Ukraine? I think you question like billions right now.
Billions, I think 30 billion, something like that. They said they want.
I think it's something new. I seen like he asked for $1 million, and then last week he asked for.
He sent them 800 million a week or two ago. He sent them 800 million, close to $1 billion.
So he's on right now. For what I've seen, this is his third request or the fourth request. He's asking now to send in an aid of Ukraine government. And I think was it a couple of days ago or last week, he requested a couple billion to send to Ukraine's help.
Yeah, it says
Which one is that?
it says I'm gonna read it for you.
Well,
Giving
yeah, like a week or two, he sent 800 million. So damn, he sent more.
It says this is from BBC News. It says Biden proposes 33 billion to help Ukraine in war. President Biden is asking Congress for 33 billion in military, economic, humanitarian assistance to support Ukraine, although he insisted that U.S. was not attacking Russia. Yeah, and if I may say real quick, in the news, it just came out that there's record levels of military funding. Like countries all around the world, and America's number one, of course. America's number one at spending when it comes to dealing with military investment. And that's the scriptures being fulfilled in Joel, the 3rd chapter. About beating your plowshares into swords.
and that's making the American people more upset. Because when you start looking at the comments on the news, you start reading the comments, and pretty much everybody's saying the same thing. Like why is they spending American tax money when they say they don't have the money to help out Americans, but they're sending it to help out people that's not from America. So the people in America is wondering like, why is money going over there? Because there's poverty here in America. There's vets in America that fought for this God-forsaken country, living in poverty. And you find that in the Apocrypha, the man that go in poverty. So it's creating controversy. That's it.
Yeah. So all right. So they sending the money over there to them, that aid, right? So they sending that aid over there, and what Obadiah said about that mentions that, and yeah, and also Biden also wants to forgive them student loan debts. That's the biggest debt, one of the biggest debt in this country. So that's gonna create more problems. And that chick, that chick on the Fox News, she be on Fox News, a lot of news channels. Tommy Lauren, she mentioned universities are indoctrination camps. All right, but the thing is, she was right. It's gonna cause more problems.
Also, you know, dealing with the housing situation, the real estate situation. We know that you know, they keep raising the rent every year, you know, and you know, dealing with inflation, you know, like elder brother Lamaji just stated about how the US citizens are paying all these tax dollars, okay, and then but they're not receiving a break when it comes to their bills, you know. So it's only so much a person could take.
Yeah, because they'll play with your head. Because if you don't know them better, you know, he's so spending. But now they'll give not Jake, well, you know, people, like, they'll increase minimum wage, but they don't really do anything, because now you increase minimum wage. What the businesses most likely does is they just, you know what, we're just gonna lay off more people, and the job it took 2 people to take on the task. Now we're gonna put the load on that one person. Now that person got to work extra harder than he did before, and you know, so it's like you really not getting a break. You was working hard before, now you got to work extra hard because people are getting laid off now because they decided to increase minimum wage. Like, it's really doing you a break. But you know, people are getting fed up and people are catching up with what's really happening, and they got money to send overseas, but they got money for wars but can't feed the poor.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to quote Pop, but he was right.
And the crazy thing is, they don't even have real money, you know, because they're funding these wars with U.S. dollars, which is pretty much toilet paper, man. You know, so it just goes to show you.
Yeah, and then I get Habakkuk 2 and start at 6, I believe. And they doing all of these, like the brother mentioned. They giving that economic aid. Now, that's more debt. Plus, don't forget that money is fractional reserve banking or lending. So it's basically, let's say if they send out $1 billion, it funnels down to like 20 billion, because wherever that money goes, it gets to get loaned out 20 times over that. So we're not ignorant of Satan's devices.
Habakkuk 2 verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that laddeth himself with thick clay.
Yeah, it's a taunting truth. The world has it's a taunting truth on the so-called white man, as he's a devil, and all the wickedness he's doing, and his that debt Abatia, all right, thick clay.
I got it right here for you.
Strong's H 5671. Avtit.
Yeah, you said it right though.
Yeah, so yeah, that debt. All right, all of this, it's creating debt. All right, that's what happened in the elites. Ultimately, they know what's going on. They behind the scenes pulling strings, which the Most High is pulling their strings, because the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men. All right, so it's the Lord that's playing on their minds. All right, when the elites think it's them, but the Lord has the whole board covered and all the pieces.
Need a mic.
Zephaniah 1 verse 11. How ye the inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchants people are cut down, and all they that bear silver are cut off.
That's right. So this is modern day Maktesh, all right, here in America, and they gonna all be cut off. All the merchants. This place is gonna be dead soon, man. So it isn't gonna be no merchants here no more. All right. And it's gonna they said it's gonna be a nationwide famine and a global famine. All right.
Okay. Yeah, that was it.
All right. Oh yeah. All right. You got it.
Yeah, I was going to say, as with the debt, it actually represents his financial debt, but then also represents his sins, because his financial debt represents the sins he accumulated with the Most High that cannot be repaid.
Okay. So yeah, he dug himself a hole, man. He can't get out of. His sins reached up into heaven. All right. So he can't buy himself out of that destruction. Okay. And I saw on Fox Business it said basically Russia launches airstrikes on Ukraine's capital, right? And also we know China and Russia is joined together, but they said that Russia has launched airstrikes on Ukraine's capital. So we could say we're in the midst of nearing World War III, man. Okay. We nearing the third war. Destruction. Okay.
I'm gonna go to, because everything that's happening right now, even with this pending third world battle, is the Most High is bringing judgment on Esau, right? So now going down to Isaiah 40 and 50, beginning at 15. Behold, the nations are as the drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. So the Most High, he disregard the nations that does not comprise of Israel. And it says, and Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beasts thereof sufficient for the burnt offering. So it's nothing they could do to pay back the Most High, because they ain't heavy debt with the Most High. You could try to make a burnt sacrifice, you could burn Lebanon, and it's not gonna be enough to make an atonement with the Most High. There's nothing they could do to make an atonement with the Most High. That's it on that.
Yeah. All right.
Right. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 19. It says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Okay. And this is talking about modern Egypt. When you read Revelation 11 and 8, it tells you that America, which is Babylon the Great, is known as spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Okay. It says Egypt shall be a desolation. It's talking about America. And America is going to be a desolation by the way of ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay. We was just talking about a country that's going to be one of the main countries to destroy this land, Russia. Okay. Then you got other countries like Iran, China, North Korea, all right, and so forth and so on. Russia just got finished testing a missile, all right, that can reach the shores of America in a short span of time, all right. And it says, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. Now, this scripture is linking America and the so-called white man together, because it says Egypt and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. All right, that shows you that the scriptures is true, because we know that Esau is ruling America, man, the so-called white man. Okay, and it says, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood of their land. Yeah, And Esau, he's never really served punishment for all of his deeds. All right, that's why the scriptures say his bones is full of the sins of his youth. All right, we could go all the way back to his forefather Cain, man. All right, and then Esau on down, man, to the present day. That hatred is a perpetual hatred, like the brother opened up with Ezekiel the 35th chapter. Okay, the so-called white man, he's done and he's still doing many atrocities, man. Okay, and he has to pay, and that time is drawing near with he's gonna pay, man.
Zechariah 12 verse 14. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the people that had fought against Jerusalem.
That plague is gonna is gonna be thermonuclear destruction. Okay.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand.
Yeah, their flesh gonna consume away while they stand. I mean, they're gonna be dehydrated, turn into powder, basically like sand. So that what could do that is thermonuclear fire. That's what's gonna do that.
If you wait till we need the
Okay.
judgment day,
Yeah,
you will see.
that's right. So and when you get the chance, you give me Revelation chapter 9.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
Their flesh going to consume away in their eyes. That's going to be their visions for the future, their new world order, plus their physical eyes are going to be burnt out. All right, consumed.
And their tongue shall be consumed away in their mouth.
That's right. Their lies, their philosophies. Okay. All of that's going to be consumed away, and their physical tongue is going to be consumed. All right? Okay.
All right. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 9, and verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000.
Yeah, that's 200 million intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right? Horse represents power. Okay, those missiles are it's symbolic. That's mentioning that means missiles. Keep going.
And I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horses in the vision,
Those horses are missiles.
and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone.
Fire, brimstone, adjacent, right? So that this describing the armory of the missile. All right.
And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions.
The heads of horses as the heads of lions. All right. So the power is in the head of the missile, like the power in the jaw of a lion.
And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone.
See, out of their mouth issue fire, smoke, and brimstone. That's that nuclear energy, that power that's in the head of the missile.
By these three was the third part of men killed
The third part of men are the sons of the wicked. That's Esau.
by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth.
All right, so this was going to destroy the so-called white man here in America.
But their power is in their mouth,
The power of the missile is in the mouth, the head, and it's going to describe what else?
and in their tails.
And in their tails, because the tail propels the missile from one continent to another, out of the atmosphere back into the atmosphere. So that nuclear fire in the tail of the missile.
But their tails were like unto servants.
As serpents. You see the nuclear missiles when they do a launch or whatever. You see it in the it maneuvers in the sky, and you see the smoke. It looks like a serpent. They look like serpents.
And had heads, and with them they do hurt.
They do hurt because they destroy everything in their path. Those missiles, when they launch and they ignite, it basically all the elements in the area, it turns into the same heat as those missiles. So that means the air, the people, materials, raw materials, cars, the sky in our region, it all turns to that same heat, hydrodynamic front, which Amno Allah broke down years ago in a video he did.
You know that each missile has multiple warheads, and also we know that we saw a glimpse of what the elder brother just stated about the effects of a nuclear the after effects of a nuclear missile being launched over there in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All the devastation and destruction that happened to those two I believe it was two islands or something like that.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah. We know that those are land bases in Japan, but you know what I'm saying? The point is that the after effects of a nuclear missile being launched is completely horrific. Survive that is by being beamed up into them chariots, man. And we know that's only for the elect of the nation of Israel.
Okay. Can I get Revelation 13 and 13? Because you mentioned Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Revelation.
Oh, slap.
Revelation 13, verse 13. It says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men."
Yeah, the so-called white man. He do great wonders. He make a fire come down from heaven. And when did that happen? During the time of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when he dropped those atomic bombs down. All right, and that footage you see, they recorded it. They recorded that footage for the world to see. All right, and that's that fire that dropped, that atomic. Those atomic bombs.
Right. And it says, "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live."
Yeah, I had a wound by the sword. Wasn't that the time during the Dark Ages, right? Okay, go ahead.
It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast."
Where you at? Verse 15, Slakia. Now it says he had power to give life to the image of the beast. Now, that image is referencing towards a system or a government. And the beast, of course, is referencing towards NATO and the EU. So, when we read about image, we know it's talking about government or a system. Just like when you read in Genesis and it says, the Most High said, "Let us make man in our image." Now, and that image in Genesis is talking about the image of the Most High, which was the law and the system, the order that the Most High set up. So now in this case, it's not talking about the governance of the Most High. It's talking about the governance and the order of Rome. So now we know that when we read sometimes image, it's talking about governance and order or system. So now this is the system of Rome. So it says you have power to give life unto the image of the beast. Now the beast is NATO and the EU. How do we know that? Because the same members that made up ancient Rome, it now make up NATO and the EU. And it says that the image of the beast shall both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now the word worship means to pay reverence or homage to the beast, meaning to comply. Yeah, you got the rest. Let me go back up. Matter of fact, that's what I wanted to get. Now let me go back up, Slakia. Because now when you read back at verse 13, and it says he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. Now we're gonna look at the word wonders, right? Because that's a key important word. Wonders. You're gonna see the Greek word.
Strong's G 4592, Semayon. Semayon.
So that I try not to say Shemai once. Say my is a tongue twister. So it says a sign, mark, whatever. Because the word wonder means miracle or vice versa. But even when you look it up in English, like look at the word miracle, it's gonna say the same thing. So it says Salakia. Yeah. He did great wonders during that time when he dropped those bombs, because he had unlimited power. He had two weapons. He had and unlimited power from the hydrogen and seawater. He could use the hydrogen bomb. So he could use all of that from the seawater. He could get all of that energy. All right, and plus he had his economic weapons during that same time. At the same time, so he basically had the world on lock. Yeah, that's right. And it says he doing great wonders, so that he making fire come down from heaven. And that happened during the World War II, because during World War II, that's when America fully became the world's superpower, after the bombing of the two Japanese cities. And after World War II, we entered to the Cold War, because that's when U.S. was warring with at that time, USSR. And alliance was formed with the U.S. was called, that's how you got NATO. NATO was formed out of World War II, because the USSR was too mighty for the US. And that's what the scripture speaks about, that beast being formed. And it says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. That's another word you gotta look up. And the word deceiveth.
Strong's G 4105, Planao. Planao.
And that means to go astray, to lead astray, lead aside from the right way. So in one word, to sin. And we see that now. So, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth, meaning cause to sin. Them that dwell on the earth. By the means of those miracles. They go to the word miracle now. Let's see what the word miracle there.
Strong's G 4592, Semayon. Semayon.
And that means, again, sign, mark, or token. But earlier, they put the word wonders here. But in verse 14, they put the word miracles. Now, I'm going to show you something on the English word of miracle, right? Now, you got the English word and show you the English definition. Now, let's go to the etymology from the Latin, mirus. And it means what?
Right. Mirus, it means wonderful. Latin Mirari.
So, in other words, it means wonder. So the word miracle just means wonder, you know, and that's all it means. It just means wonder, because like you think of a, when a person think of a miracle, they thinking of a person pulling a rabbit out of a hat. No, a miracle just means something that a person wonder at. It could be a great miracle or a small miracle. So, excuse me. So in this case, there was a big miracle because this was the first time during World War II the world was exposed to atomic warfare. That's why they wonder at it, like, oh wow.
Like Marvel, the word, you get the word, like when you get the word Marvel.
Look that up. There you go. Want me to read it? Yeah. It says to be filled with wonder or astonishment.
Okay.
Yep. You get it. You got more on it. It shares the same root word. It's like it shares the same root word. So you get the word marvel for the word miracle. It means to wonder. That's right.
And like the brother Malak said, astonishment. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's why you gotta look up the words.
Okay.
Jake get tripped up over meanings of words because when you look at words, a lot of times you see what the word commonly used as, then you see the true meaning of the word. So now we go to the word.
Oh, you got it.
I read from there. We go to the word. We go back to Revelation 3:13 and 14. Now we know, like, when it says, "And deceive them that dwell on the earth," we understand that the word deceive actually means to cause to sin or to error, and because Esau is the man of sin, by the means of those miracles or wonders or marvel or astonishments, which he had powers to do in the sight of the beast, because he had the power to do because he had the atomic bomb at the time, because at that time it was considered to be a new thing, and the other nations didn't have atomic capability or atomic warfare, so they feared to get in conflict with the U.S. The only one that was dared to challenge the U.S. was at the time the USSR or the Soviet Union. So they was the two that had those weapons, but it wasn't meant for those two armies to battle at the time. So that's why the USSR collapsed at 1991, if I'm not mistaken.
Cold War.
And right, and isn't that's why you got the and like the brother said, that's why you got the Cold War, and didn't and they made an agreement during that time. It was Bush the father, right, and Gorbachev, right. They was like no NATO countries or could be around Russia's borders, right. So basically NATO and the U.S. broke that agreement already, because they're not supposed to be around their neighboring area or setting up anything,
Yeah, it was supposed to be seen as active war that they enhance toward, anywhere towards Russia.
So
Be considered active war.
so their house is divided, and their tongue is like they speak with smooth words, man. They don't keep their agreements, man.
And it says we left off, and it says, by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live.
It did live, yeah, because they came back in the power during the Renaissance period, rebirth.
Mm-hmm. And they fully came in power as NATO. Because now the beast that was wounded was the Roman Empire that had collapsed, but they fully came to power as NATO. Mm-hmm. Now Esau as a people or white supremacy came back during the Renaissance. They started with that.
Okay.
And it said that they should make an image to the beast, which we know image talking about a government,
Yeah.
you know, that something that everybody had to conform to or comply to.
Yeah, cause his system, everything, his order is law. We are maritime law. You got UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. How everyone has to follow suit and do business according to Esau sets the rules. Everyone has to move about.
Now it says in verse 16, and he calls them all. No, it says he calls them all, both small and great,
Yeah.
rich and poor.
Yep. The so-called white man, starting with the elites, cause of all, both small and great. Those small in society, those great in society, rich and poor.
Free and bond,
Those that's walking around, and then those that's locked in these prison systems
to receive a mark in a right hand
to receive a mark, a cutting in, karagma, in their right hand
or in their forehead.
on their foreheads. So this mark and cutting in, that's gonna be that needle that's inserted into the hand or in the head to lodge that chip, RFID microchip, okay? And that's gonna be the monetary system, your identity. I'm not saying your, but I'm just speaking in general. Identity, everything. That's the new passport. It can't no one read.
Make it all digital where
Uh-huh.
everything's in, like all your records is all comprised into a device.
Uh-huh.
You know, your who you are, your identity, your medical records, your payment, you know, how you make payments. You want it to be all in there.
Yep.
You know, because that's the image. That image is that is new that new world disorder. You know, that's what he's trying to do, which all goes back from ancient Rome, which he's trying to revive ancient Rome or pick up what he left off.
Yep. It's more. It's more.
And that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast,
Yep.
the number of his name.
You're not gonna be able to buy or sell. You mean not gonna be able to function. And you're not gonna be able to work because even if you're working, you're selling your services. All right. So it's always an exchange of buying and selling. So you're not gonna be able to work or buy or sell. You're not gonna be able to go to the hospital. That's business. So and then it's at the number.
Verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man.
It is a number of a man, all right? So that number is that system that tracks everything is a 666 system, UPC, Universal Product Code, all right? The same thing that tracks goods throughout the country, all right? It has to process that information, that program, all right? And George Joseph Laura, he programmed it. He was with IBM because the first barcodes was circles, concentric circles, circles within circles. So it was made. It was ordained for him to make that system so the information could process quicker with them columns. 666, and it started. It represented the first, his name George, 6 letters, Joseph and Laura, 666, 666.
So it says, and his number is 603 score and 6.
All right.
You know, look up the Greek word for 603 score and 6. It's chi psi stigma. All right, and you look up stigma, right? The word stigma in the Greek, it says a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. Okay, so you know this microchip implant is nothing more than a cattle brand. You know, you're pretty much your owner is who? The elites, the elite bankers, which are none other than the House of Rothschilds, the House of Rockefellers, the chief ones, so to speak. You know, you become a perpetual slave unto them, man.
And when a syringe or a needle that's put through the flesh is called a clean cut. You know, you got brothers know, but any scoffer or whoever don't believe that, ask a doctor, or surgeon. They'll tell you whenever you put a needle in the flesh, it's called a clean cut.
That was the point, though. Anybody else got a scripture?
No, I ain't got nothing. You got something? No. You got any closing words, I guess? No. I'm getting my way out of here.
Okay.
It's pretty much we almost out of here. We say it, but we believe we almost out of here because we just waiting for these main prophecies to take place. Okay.
That's right.
So, you know, with that, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makar Kadash, double honors to the apostles, the elders, the honors to Akim that's pushing this truth out in sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.